So let's start with strength and stability of the wall. So let's discuss strength and stability of the wall. Now tell me, the strength of the wall depends on what? Yes, strength of brick or strength of any building material that we are taking. Right? It could be brick, stone, or whatever material you are taking. So let's discuss firstly the strength part. It will depend on the wall component or the material, maybe brick, stone, or timber, bamboo, or any new material like ferro cement, fly ash brick, AC block. Lot of materials are available. So obviously the component of the wall. Any other thing that apart from brick, stone, or any wall component, tell me the other factors. Grade of mortar. Good. So next would be grade of mortar. Or any binding material. Grade of mortar or any binding material. What could be the other factor? Yes. And also we can say slenderness ratio. Thickness, slenderness ratio. Okay. So these are three basic things which decide the strength of wall component, the brick, stone, or any material that you are using, the grade of mortar or any binding material, and thickness, slenderness ratio of the wall. Slenderness ratio we will study in structure also, especially for column. I'm not very sure in structure class you in syllabus में है या नहीं, मुझे बहुत idea नहीं है, but very briefly we will discuss here the slenderness ratio of the wall because that is very important. So tell me, we talked about brick, we also talked about stone a bit. So what was the compressive strength of brick or crushing strength of the brick? So the compressive strength of the first class brick was around 10 Newton per mm square, or in terms of kg, 100 kg per centimeter square. Around 100 kg per centimeter square. So that was compressive strength or crushing strength of the brick. In stone, obviously it was more than that, and in case of timber, it would be 30, 40, up to 70. It will depend on types of timber and how you have prepared the timber plank, whether it is parallel to grain or perpendicular to grain. So don't worry, we'll discuss in detail about timber. Yeah. Tensile strength of timber will be high if you compare with stone and brick. These are very brittle material. So in case of tensile strength, it would be 70 to 140 kg per centimeter square. I'm talking the unit value. But compressive strength will be a little bit lesser than this one. So we can use any material, brick, stone, timber, bamboo. In last class, using bamboo, right? So you were asking whether it will take all the load, it can withstand or not. So obviously you can take bamboo also. So you can take bamboo also. No? So we have little bit idea about compressive strength of the brick or crushing strength of the brick. But now, if we take the load bearing capacity of the wall, है ना? अगर load bearing capacity बात करें, the strength of brickwork normally lies between 1/3 to 1/5 of the individual brick. Now let's discuss about the grade of mortar. Which grade we should use? So common thinking is if we use high cement or high grade of mortar, the brick wall will be very strong, and that is not very true. There is a relationship between the brick, individual brick, the brick mortar, and optimum strength of the brick wall, right? So what should be the grade of mortar? Suppose we are having 1:3, that is very high grade, we can take 1:4, 1:6, and so on. So study suggests that if you are using high strength brick or first class brick, then you can use high grade of mortar. But if you are using low strength or weaker brick or third class brick, it's better to use weak mortar rather than using high grade mortar, because there is no advantage of using this grade of mortar with medium or low quality brick. So what should we do? Stronger mortar with stronger brick and weaker mortar with weak brick. Because what will happen in case of weak brick, or suppose you are using third class brick and you have used this very high cementitious mortar, in that case structure will become unnecessarily rigid. That is first thing. And because of more cementitious material, it will tendency to develop crack. Now suppose we have used this very high grade of mortar or very cementitious mortar with weak brick. So what will happen after the construction? There will be some settlement of foundation or something. Because of that, the crack will be developed through the mortar and brick, or it will cross the brick. Because what is happening over here, we have used this high grade of mortar that is very rigid in nature, and the brick is little bit weak. So what will happen in case of settlement? You may find some kind of crack in brick. So if you see the crack in brick, that is not necessarily due to very high applied load or very high load. Most of the time it happens because of the foundation settlement. You have chosen this high grade of mortar with the weak brick. For weaker brick, if we choose the weak grade of mortar, so what will happen in case of settlement? Little bit it will take. The mortar will take care of little bit settlement. Also the shrinkage, or because of the temperature, shrinkage happens. So in that case, the mortar will take care of this. Because look, after the construction, there will be some settlement, little bit some foundation settlement. Because of the temperature, there will be some shrinkage, and building breathes. So throughout the year, some changes will be there. So if you are using the porous or little bit weak mortar in nature, less cementitious material, it will take care of settlement. And suppose if a little bit more settlement is there, so the entire brickwork, the settlement will distribute it among the various layer of mortar. So instead of having crack in brick, the mortar will take care if you are using little bit less grade of mortar with weaker brick. Obviously, if you are using high grade of brick, use high strength of mortar. Generally it is said that the strength of mortar will be little bit lesser than the strength of brick. So if you are using very high grade of brick, we can use 1:3, 1:4 grade of mortar. If we are using second or third class of brick, we can use little bit this grade of mortar. Again I am quoting that for strong brick, use stronger mortar. For less strength of brick, use weaker mortar, so that the crack would not be developed in the brick. The mortar will take care of the settlement, it will take care of the shrinkage and all. You already discussed the strength of brick. First class brick 100 kg, second class will be lesser, third class will be lesser than that. Generally, the strength of brickwork is 1/3 to 1/5 of the strength of this individual brick. Now there is another term, the permissible load. The permissible load is generally taken 1/10 of this brick. So for example, if we are taking, obviously it will depend on this, the grade of mortar also. So if we are choosing 1:3, so the permissible load would be 10 kg per centimeter square or 1 Newton per mm square. If you are using 1:4, it could be 7. If you are using 1:6, it would be around 5 or 5.5. You can see the table, you have IS code. I'll suggest you to refer SP20, then you will find various kind of mortar, various kind of grade, their strength and all. So obviously in first year you may not have time to study all the things, but just एक बार पलट करके देखिएगा SP20, right? Now tell me, what should be the thickness of wall? And it will depend on what? Obviously, when we discussed the section of wall, we took 1 brick thick wall or 9-inch thick brick wall. Now tell me, how much thickness is optimal? Whether we should 5-inch or we should 1 brick thick, or we should 2 brick thick or 1.5 brick thick. Lot of things. Here we will discuss only in terms of strength. The thermal insulation we can discuss later. The sound insulation today we will discuss, but later. And very quickly we will discuss. In terms of strength, tell me what should be the thickness of the wall. So there is a term, slenderness ratio. Have you heard of this? In structure class, you will study this slenderness ratio. Mostly in case of column, wall में शायद I don't know syllabus में कितना cover हो पाएगा. So slenderness ratio is effective length by width or effective height by width of wall, and this is effective height of wall or effective length of wall. Effective length by width of wall, or effective height by width, whichever is lesser, right? So let's forget this effective term. Suppose this is the plan. You have door over here, and this is the wall, right? So suppose we are taking this wall. This is length and this is thickness, and if we draw elevation of this, suppose this is h, right? So either L by width of the wall, this is width, or h by width, whichever is lesser. Okay, we are not discussing about effective height. We have very long wall. So suppose we have very long wall, or wall something like this. Okay, both are elevation. So we have very long wall. So L by width, or this height by thickness, width or thickness. So there should be some limit of that. For example, I have this kind of wall. The thickness is very less and height is very high if we compare with thickness of the paper. Obviously, there will be some buckling or something. There will be some buckling. So there should be limit for height and limit for the length. So this is for. So for this we use the term slenderness ratio. Now suppose we have very long wall. Suppose we have this very long wall, and this is the plan. Again, now let me draw again this plan. So there should be some limit. Suppose we have very long wall, or we have wall of too much of, suppose 30-meter height wall we have, and thickness is still 5 inches. So that may not be very stable, right? So let me draw again. Let me draw the plan. Suppose this is the plan of any building, and we have door. So this wall is very long. So there should be some limit. Now, if we provide some cross wall, and again this is the door. Now, we can even go more. The length would be a little bit more. So here, effective length will be less when we have the support wall. In case of vertical wall also, if this is supported by roof and other things are there, we can go even more. But in case of freestanding wall, the length or effective length will be little bit more. That means we cannot go very high. So there should be some limit. So what should be the slenderness ratio? Again, you can find in SP20. I will suggest you to go through the SP62 also. So here, suppose we are having the wall with roof. So it will also depend on the grade of mortar. Suppose you are using 1:3 cement. So it could be slenderness ratio could be 24. If you are using lime, so it could be lesser, maybe 18. If you are using mud mortar, it could be 16 or even lesser. I'm just talking in general term. So for cement, we can go higher height of the wall or higher length of the wall. In case of weak mortar, obviously slenderness ratio will be less, right? So that is the significance of this slenderness ratio. Another thing is the flexural strength, that is kind of bending strength. We will not discuss each and every detail. Slenderness ratio we already discussed. Impact strength, if we have impact force, so that also matters. Lateral strength, for example, in case of high wind or in case of earthquake, building will move like this. So suppose we have wall. Suppose this is plan. And something like this, and building is moving like this. So in that case, this wall will tend to topple this way or this way, and this wall also. But this will try to control, right? For example, we have this wall. So if building is moving something like this wall may easily topple or fall. So lateral strength also matters, and self weight also matters, because the dead load of the building along with live load, dead load is also quite high. So in case of brick, there will be some weight. In case of timber, that is lighter material, or bamboo will be lighter. If you take brick, you may have 17 to 1900 kg per meter cube. In case of stone, it would be 2500. In case of concrete, it will be almost around something like this. In case of timber, it will be lighter. So self weight also matters, right? So these are the basic properties which decide the strength and stability of the wall. So we discuss in very in brief manner. Whenever you get time, you can study by your own. Next point क्या था? Insulation, right?